Duterte is railing against.
Imagine how far we are in terms of speed and spread and magnitude of information. So, can they sanitize martial law? Absolutely. 1 million times more than before. Can we spread truths about it? Yes, I think so, with the same pace, because we're all in the same zone, which is the cyber zone. But, yeah, ang daming texture na hindi nakukuha ng internet. For example, it's just visuals, it's just a picture and an article or somebody narrating a story. But you have to remember, when real things happened before, the dimension was different. The air, the feeling of the air was different. You were afraid after 10 o'clock. When a police car passed by, as a child, I felt afraid in my stomach. Those are textures the internet can never capture. But to be very fair to this generation, the millennials, as we have labeled them, I am guilty of the same regarding World War II. We hate the Japanese, we were always afraid, we would run, etc. You know, where are we now? We have Japanese food, we like Japanese pets.
We embrace Japanese culture.
Absolutely, I love the sakura, I like, the emperor, the new empress, I love them. And we love Japanese culture. So we have grandmothers who are still alive and parents who are so perturbed at how we love the Japanese because they were afraid. So
there's a difference.
I think every generation will have their war.
What is the difference? The Japanese expressed remorse for what they did during the war. Yung Marcos family saying, wala kaming ginawang masama, wala kaming ninakaw, and magaling na presidente si Marcos dahil marami tayong mga buildings na pwede niyo pagmayabang. The Japanese never did that.
Well, they did bomb the whole Manila.
Well, of course, they expressed remorse for it afterwards, but I think there's a stark difference between how we forgave the Japanese.
Do you see my point? Like how frustrated the older generation must be with me that I don't understand
that. You don't feel
all I got was I know war as an abstract and that it should never happen. But calligraphy of the Japanese, the fashion, the film I embrace, Kurosawa. Even etc. So even I always have an aunt who's appalled that I like Japanese food. There will be that. So for me, every generation will have their war that might not be transmitted to the next generation. I just hope that more of the young ones who were not alive during martial law will be aggressive and take advantage of the information available, be more discerning which one is credible. It's very easy to lie on the internet, just as much as it's very easy to tell the truth on the internet. So I think we should trust our parents, our gut feel.
First of all, I think maybe for our audience who may be unfamiliar with who we represent on the show, because we did introduce you.
I represent myself.
You represent Rockhead.
I do.
And Rockhead as a volunteer group aims to actually educate people, but to an alternative way.
Alternative means of education, yeah, absolutely.
And how do you do that? I mean, alternatively, you present subjects through what means?
Well, you know how there's forums in schools about human rights, women's rights, children's rights. It's usually a forum. So there's a speaker and there's an open forum. How we usually do it is through the arts. So there's usually a concert, an exhibit, a film, music, absolutely, rock and roll culture, performance art, etc. So, and here we are.
Right. And in this digital age, when you can actually upload all of that stuff now online through YouTube or through some other means, Facebook Live, whatever, can Rockhead actually have that kind of alternative social class, social education to try to counteract all the propaganda that's been coming out in favor of martial law?
In favor. Yeah, it's really amazing how there's a slew of information going around in favor of martial law, when clearly it was a time where media was suppressed, newspapers were closed down, TV networks were owned by just a specific number of people. A lot of information was concealed from the public. This is a time of almost no freedom. Your capacity to choose is diminished almost. Even the sales of cars, by the way, for if you're a car person, you only had a few to choose from. Only very, very few. So this was a time of non-freedom. It was such a dark time. Now, this generation, we're all about freedom. We're all about, we can even choose our gender. I can change my gender. I can actually say I'm trans woman, I have the body of a woman, but I identify as male. I can actually say that now. That's how free we are. Can you imagine how different it was before? So, the young ones, I know you keep hearing this, you don't know how free you are.
They're so free that they actually say, dapat lahat ng media mamatay na. Because they say that on
wow.
social media, they
That's
say, ang
not
mga
true.
media,
That's
bayaran,
stupid.
bayaran nilang lahat yan eh. And then they believe that because they read it on the internet.
Yeah. There's a very big difference between freedom of speech and reckless stupidity and venues to be heard.
So
It's
how
so
do
different.
you...
You know, freedom of
Yeah.
speech is like being drunk minus the slur. But, you know, you
The
just say what
slur,
you want to
the
say. and
slurs
that's very
abound
different.
right
Yeah.
now. But so going back to what Rock Ed
Sure.
can do, if there is this prevalence of misinformation that is spreading out there, and Rock Ed, as you say, you use alternative means of communication,
Yeah.
can you actually use that to
To
counteract?
counter?
Yeah, counteract,
Oh.
or is it just of a magnitude that's too much for even volunteer groups like Rock Ed
Uh,
to even handle?
No, you know, information is energy. It's a wave. You can always counter. And it's always a difference between is it the number of posts or the quality of
Quality.
how you present the information. Ako, I'd make a call. If you're watching and you're actually one of those people with old albums in your house of pictures of the 70s or anything you might have, scan them, throw them on the internet because we don't have enough documentation of martial law.
Pre-1972.
Pre-1972, yeah. Show us pictures of all the desaparecidos. Show us the childhood pictures of Aquina Distrajano, of Lorena Bar, all these people who disappeared. Show us pictures of We Forum's office that was closed down, chained down. Jose Burgos, what did he look like when he was young? His son is a desaparecido right now. Can you imagine? He started We Forum, there's Malaya, there's etc. You can't picture this, but picture it. No diario except 3. And all these diarios are owned by one controlling source of information. And every single page, bida ang Marcoses. You know, we even had as children what we call current events digest. It's a small newspaper for grade
School.
school.
Yeah.
It makes you practice reading a newspaper as a child. And it's patterned after a newspaper. There's a headline, there's opinion, there's etc. etc. Everything is FM built this. FM is the initials of Ferdinand Marcos. FM built this. FM releases dam that has hydropower. FM opens heart center. FL wows Libya. FL wows New York. FL, you know, and as a 9, 10-year-old reading this constantly, they're really your idols. They're really amazing.
So,
you know?
so how did it happen that even with that kind of barrage of propaganda being fed to you as a kid,
Yeah.
and it happened also during my time, but much earlier than yours.
How did I get to
But how did you actually not fall into that trap?
I'm so glad you asked. You know, this is crazy. There was are you even aware of a Betamax tape? Okay, picture a VHS tape, only
They
smaller.
probably do know that. Yeah.
Google it. There is a Betamax tape that's recorded over and over, almost photocopied and spread in almost many households of the speeches of Ninoy Aquino,
In
who's the
Boston.
father of the former president. And then there are speeches of Raul Manglapos speaking in Washington about, you know, it's almost like contraband text, except it's in the form of video. My family had them because we had relatives in the States who would mail it to
bring
us.
them.
And then we will sometimes copy for other neighbors, and neighbors will copy for other neighbors, and etc. It's like a USB now that's being spread out. Other than that, the awareness also of my family is very different. Because I have an eldest brother, I'm the youngest. We're 10. He had long hair, and one day he came home with short hair.
Nahuli kasi
And,
siya.
literally,
Ginupitan siya.
ginupitan yung kuya ko sa Ortigas. Parang, that's just so amazing. But for me, that was normal. I was a kid, you know, and that's normal. And seriously, I don't know what myths your parents told you about who to fear, you know. Because sometimes it's multo, white lady, sometimes it's a race, you know, Indian race, etc. It's so racist. But with us, it's police.
Yeah.
Pag nandyan yung police, takot ka. Like parang, if you don't brush your teeth, bibigay kita sa police. Which is so strange because
The boogeyman was the same guy who was supposed to protect you.
at the time it's called Metrocom. And can you imagine that we feared those who were tasked to protect and serve us? But I think we're getting the same feeling now about the police or the PNP with all these cardboard extrajudicial killings. I personally know actually one, the sister of Maritoni, and that scares me. Kasi it's the same feeling. This is the texture. This is the texture of martial law that I think cyberspace can't capture. That they fear, it's others. Can you imagine what non-freedom that is? What kind of non-freedom that is? Multiply it by 10 million, that's martial law. And I don't think you would really want it. I mean, you take it from me. It's
Well,
all
yeah.
about freedom.
I know.
And freedom is the best thing, you know? It's what we should fight for. It's the only thing that matters right now for me. Freedom is my favorite word, next to mom. But yeah, freedom. That's what today is about.
Well, I guess, as you said, the days of Betamax and photocopied
Sorry, please just Google it.
photocopied reports are buried in the past, but there are other digital ways for the younger generation to actually research on what that
We're not
is.
defeated. I mean, it's not a war we're losing. It's a war we just have to constantly fight. Throw out always information because it's just information batuhan. Whatever you know, whatever you believe in, throw it out there. Whether it's pro martial law or anti, throw it out there. This is a democracy. Go ahead. But those who know and actually went through the dark and non-freedom time of martial law, please speak out and tell your children about it.
Again, thanks very much for
Thank you.
coming over and helping us also
I know.
to mark the significance of this
Martial law.
this anniversary. Again, well,